I will just share my screen with you. You recall what we have discussed yesterday? Who recall? In chapter 6, the 8 steps of the decision making. You still remember that, guys? You are not talking, huh? Let me see names. Can you see my screen now?
No.
No, دكتور.
Okay, now I think you can see it now. About now.
Yes, we
Yes.
can.
Okay, before we continue, we have to review the 2 topics that we discussed in yesterday's lecture. What did we discuss yesterday? First thing, we define decision, isn't it? Guys, you still remember? I will see names. Wait. باسل.
دكتور أنا امبارح فصل عندي النت فما كملت المحاضرة.
Okay, Natalie. I will help you, Natalie. Try to say what we have discussed yesterday. I will help you. We define decision, then we talk about the 8 steps of decision making. Okay, Haya. After that, there are 3 ways, okay, for taking decisions. You recall them, Haya? Okay, Haya, Natalie, Basil. I will give you
دكتور
2
أنا
minutes.
معك بس.
Okay, do you have the material in front of you? I will give you 2 minutes. I will give you 2 minutes to recall what we have discussed yesterday, okay? Because what we are going to talk today will depend upon what we have discussed yesterday. That's why I want you to recall, okay? I'll give you 2 minutes, guys, all of you, the 3 of you now, or all of you, okay? You try just to recall what we have discussed yesterday, okay? 2 minutes. Is it enough? Or 3 minutes, okay? Guys, I want answer. Natalie, Haya. Basil.
أوكي دكتور.
Okay. Okay, guys, did you recall? Okay, now we have
لازم أنزل على التليفون. طب هو فاتح ولا شو المشكلة؟
okay. Good morning again. Maybe you were not able to recall. I will show you what we have discussed yesterday, just as a review. We defined the decision yesterday and we described the 8 steps in the decision-making process. This is what we did yesterday. Okay, I'll show you the 8 steps again here. You have to, can you hear me, guys? Can you hear me?
Yes, Doctor.
Okay, these are the 8 steps of decision making. You have to identify the problem first. Then after that, you make identification of decision criteria. And I give you an example yesterday about Sarah and her reps, her employees. Okay, after that, you have to allocate weight, importance weight for each criteria. Okay, then after that, you will develop alternatives. And in our example yesterday, you recall, I will show you in Sarah's example here. We have weights. I will show you the weights here. For example, she want to buy laptops for her employees. So the criteria necessary for the laptops for the nature of the work of her employee is or was memory and storage, battery life, carrying weight, warranty, display quality. Okay, you see the weights are different The most important for them is the memory and storage. Okay, the least important was display quality. Okay, because it has a weight of importance weight of 3 only. Okay, these are the steps. Then after developing alternatives, the alternatives were Toshiba and Lenovo, if you recall, Sony, and so on. Okay, then after that you have to analyze each alternative based on the weights of the criteria. You will multiply the importance weight, multiply by the score, okay, the score of the brand. Then you will have a weighted score. Now the total weighted score will decide who is your best alternative. Okay, after that you have to, here are the points. I discuss it with you and I show you how did we get these values. Okay, especially with regard here to the total. As you see, Toshiba got the highest weighted score. That's why the choice or the best alternative was to buy the Toshiba brand for the employees according to the criteria that they prefer. Okay, putting the choosing alternative also into action. This is so action or implementation of alternative means that you have now to buy. Okay, you have to implement your decision. And the last step, of course, you have to evaluate your decision effectiveness. Does it meet the goal or not? And you will do that, of course, after implementation in order to decide if your decision or your selection for the best alternative were right or not. Okay, and we made a quick review for that yesterday. After that, we explained the 3 ways managers make decisions. And you know the 3 ways, I want you to know them, guys. Rational decision making, then bounded rationality in decision making, then the last one, to take decision based on intuition, okay, which means the personal judgment and experience of a manager. These are the 3 ways. And we said that managers, they use decision making in all management functions, the 4 of them: planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Okay, here is the rationality and the role of intuition. We discuss it, and we discussed the 5 elements of intuition decision making, and we made also a quick learning review also with this regard. And don't forget the second question here, the answer will be C, rational and intuitive, because some of you was confused about the answer here. Okay, today we will continue discussing the same topic, which is we have to classify decisions and decision making conditions. Okay, we will start with we will explain first the 2 types of problems and decisions. After that, we will compare or contrast the 3 decisions making conditions. Okay, guys, here is the structured problems and program decision. We will start with the 2 types of problems. By the way, the problem could be either structured or unstructured. This is what we will talk about. If the problem is structured, then you have to use program decisions. It will be programmed. I will explain to you now, of course, what does it mean and how. If the problem is unstructured, which will be the second type, then you have to use unprogrammed decisions because the problem is new. This is your first time to face such a problem. Okay, I want you to look at this now for again another 3 minutes. I will put it here. I want one of you, anybody of you, to think of, after reading the meaning of structured problems and program decision, to think of an example. Give me an example that any manager can face any kind of problem, but this problem will be a routine problem, structured problem, okay, and the decision will be programmed. Think of one, and I will give you 3 minutes again to do that. Okay, you can see my screen still? Can you see my screen?
لا دكتور.
Huh? No?
لا.
Okay. Here. Okay, think of okay. Let's start with as I told you, there are two types of problems. We will start with the structured problem. Haya, did you can give an example? For example, you try in your own words, whatever. I just want you to interact. Haya, Anton, Basil, Anton, Basil, Muhammad. Okay.
نعم دكتور.
دكتور.
Okay. Can you give example about the structured problem? Structured problems means the problems that has already a routine how to solve it. Yani it's okay. It's something I will show you. Involve goals that are clear. First of all, yani it's clear. The problem does not need really to try to understand what is it. It's normal. It's not the first time to face this kind of problem. We call it structured one. Second criteria for the structured problem, you are familiar as a manager. Yani you are familiar with the problem. Yani it has occurred before. You have faced this kind of problem. Another criteria, maybe it is easy, yani these kind of problems are easy to completely defined, okay, easily defined, and you can define. If you recall, why I told you to recall what we have discussed yesterday, because the first step in decision making was to define the problem. So you should have ability in order to define how to define your problem. But here, with the structured problem, it's very easy for you to define what is the problem. Why? Because it's a structured one, it's not new, it has happened before, and so on. Information about the problem, of course, is available, and this will make it easier also to take decision, and it is complete. Now, guys, بس ركزوا معي شوي شو اللي بدنا اياه. هلا these structure, the first type, which is structured problems. Now, if your problem is structured and not new, then you will use the kind of a certain type of decision making, which is programmed decisions. Because you will see, I will show you the other type first, then I go back. The other type of problems is unstructured problems. Now, when the problem is unstructured, you will use non-programmed decisions. So let's go back to the programmed one, okay? Now, what's the meaning of programmed decisions? A repetitive decision that can be handled by a routine approach, which means, this problem happened before in the company. Now, when it will repeat itself, now from our experience, we did solve it before in a way, so we will solve it in the same way, okay? يعني it's not something new to think about it. يعني مثلا أعطيكم مثال. For example, department head, رئيس قسمك في الجامعة، مثلا انتوا إدارة أعمال أو محاسبة أو whatever. رئيس قسمك أحيانا بيجي طالب مثلا خريج على فصل صيفي وعنده مادتين مش مطروحات من المواد اللي بتخرج عليها، مش مطروحات نهائيا على الصيفي. هذه problem. هذه structured problem. Why? Because there is a solution, there is a routine solution, which is انه الطالب is allowed اذا كان خريج على فصل التخرج مسموح لإدارة القسم انها تستبدل للطالب مادتين. اوكي؟ تستبدل للطالب كم؟ لحد مادتين. So this is an example of a structured problem. Okay, يعني it's not something new for the department head. It's something that he did before. So the decision, okay, or the solution is repetitive, as you can see here. And you can take decision in order to solve this kind of problem using a routine approach, which is the replacement of the two courses for the student. This is يعني an example of what we mean by structured and routine problems. Now, a type of decisions, of course, all of these are programmed, guys. All of these are programmed decisions. Now, these are the type of programmed decisions that you can take in order to deal or to solve what we have said structured problem. Structured problem can be solved through a procedure, a written procedure, steps, a series of interrelated steps that a manager can use to respond. Yani means, for example, applying a policy. I have a written policy. I just can apply it for this kind of problem to a structured problem. Example, accept, for example, this is an example about a department store, let's say. Accept all customer returned merchandise. Accept it all. This is a policy of the company. Now, using this policy will resolve the structured problem, because this problem is not new. We have a policy will say that we have to accept all customer returned merchandise. Okay, this is our policy. Okay, how we are going to implement this policy? Now you need steps, a series of interrelated steps. Or the second type of decision that you could use with a structured problem, a rule, using a rule. الرول القاعدة بنسميها. And يعني sometimes a rule will solve the problem. يعني for example, an explicit, and before we take the example, we have to discuss what is rule. It is an explicit statement that limits what a manager or employee can or cannot do. Okay, يعني الرول قاعدة. When we say no smoking, it's a rule. يعني in you at your office. Okay, for example, managers must approve all refunds over $50. يعني اللي بيكون على الكاونتر ما بصير يرجع اي شيء اكثر من $50. It should be approved by the manager. Okay, now when the employee will face this case and somebody want to return any merchandise, he will look at the price. If it's over $50, then this is a problem. How to solve it? By the rule. We have a rule says that anything, يعني any product that has to be refunded, which is above $50, then I'll go to my manager because the manager should approve it first. And I think sometimes you can see this in department stores and even in fast food restaurants if you want to change something. Now, no credit purchases are refunded for cash. This is another rule. قاعدة إذا أنت اشتريت بالكريدت قاعدتنا there is no refund. Okay, يعني for cash يعني we make a refund but not for cash. بنعطي cash بدلها because you have paid using your visa. Okay, so this is a rule. So if the customer will come to you, you will tell him no, we cannot do that. You will answer as an employee. Okay, and you will solve the problem by yourself because it's a routine one. You will tell him, you know, our department store has a rule that we cannot refund cash money if your payment was in credit card, for example. Okay, or you can use also policy in order to solve structured problems or routine problems. It's a general guide for making a decision about structured problem. Of course, this is the definition. Example, follow all steps for completing merchandise return documentation. If you can see, this example is related to this example when we said that you can use a policy. Now here you will use the steps based on this policy. Now we take again the example. It's with regard to the merchandise again, but it has to be documented. Our policy is to make a documentations for all returned, okay, or refunded merchandise in order, of course, to use it as in the future for any reason. So this is, I think, a good example of a procedure, a rule, and a policy as a types of decision that you can use to deal with structured problem. Now, let's go to the second type of problems. Second type, which is, as I told you a while ago, unstructured problems. Now, problems that are new or unusual. This is different story. There, as I told you, like the department head, you are facing routine problems, problems which you have faced before, but now no. Unstructured problems means that you are facing unusual or new problem for the first time, and you don't have enough information, and your information is ambiguous. Yani there is ambiguity in the situation, or your information sometimes it's incomplete in order to solve the problem. Now, these kind of problems require custom-made solutions. It needs a tailored solutions. Okay, first time solutions. That's why here you need more thinking, and you need to use a non-programmed, non-routine decisions. Okay, because you don't have any programmed decisions for these kind of unusual problems. Now, decisions that are unique and non-recurring means it's not repeated. يعني something new، مشكلة اللي أول مرة بتمر معنا وتكرارها احتمال تكرارها قليل. Then what we will do, we will use non-programmed decisions in order to think about it, and we will start, and of course you can follow the steps. Okay, certain steps in collecting for information, more information, and more, and of course it will not be easy for you as a decision maker to take fast decision in this case, and I will show you in the next slide يعني what are the methods that are used in order to deal with such such unstructured problems. Decisions also that generate unique responses. يعني your response will be also different. Why different, unique? Because it is the first time, your first time to face this kind of problems here. Now, this will help you a lot now. This will help you. I think this slide, I will make it maybe larger for you. It's a very good slide, by the way. It will help you understand the difference between, okay, program decisions and non-program decisions based on a certain characteristics. Like, for example, the type of problem under program decisions, structured, under non-program decisions, unstructured. And we have talked about this in the previous 2 or 3 slides. Now, the managerial level. Let's take the managerial level, for example. Always, since this is routine problems, okay, the program, since this is a routine, a structured problem, then it will be on the lower level, on the functional level, on the operational level of the management. And lower level managers, they will take decision. Why? Because it is a programmed one. It's a routine one. But in the case of the upper levels, they will deal with non-programmed decisions. Why? Because here you are facing top management or upper level management from middle up to up. They are the one who will be involved in solving such unstructured and unusual problem, or they will take what we call non-program decisions. Now, in terms of frequency, program decisions, repetitive, routine. Maybe you take sometimes daily program decisions, a lot of routine and repetitive decision, which is under the program decision. But in the case of non-program decision, it will be always new and unusual, and most of the time it's not repeating itself. With regard to the information criteria, by the way, the program decision will be readily available because it's programmed. As you said, you have enough information, complete information. You have faced this kind of problem, structured problem. That's why your information will be with regard to the solution or to the decision, program decision ready. But in the case of the non-program decisions, the case will be, as we said a while ago, ambiguous. The information will be not clear. Ambiguity على فكرة means not clear, and your information is incomplete. It's not enough to base, okay, it's not enough to make the right decision. Goals, in terms of goals for the program decision, it's very clear. Goals, specific goals, measurable goals, and so on. But in the case of non-program decision, since your problem is unstructured, then it is vague. Guys, vague means also unclear, not clear. Okay, the word vague maybe بجوز بعضكم بيسمعها لي أول مرة. Now, time frame for solution. For program decision, very short time frame, but for non-program decisions, relatively long. Okay. Now, for the solution relies on what? This is important now. Now, solutions relies in the program decisions on procedures, as we discussed, and we took an example on that with regard to the refund merchandise, rules, or policies. Now, in the case of non-program decisions, you can use your intuition. And I said that intuition means your experience, your personal experience, your judgment, and your creativity. Okay? Now, decision-making conditions. Usually there are 3 conditions for you in order to take decisions. Okay? It's either certainty, yani managers usually they take decisions under one of 3 conditions. The first one, we call it decisions under certainty. which means that the manager is taking a decision in a situation that he can make an accurate decision because the outcome or the result of his decision of every alternative choice is well known. Certain. I'm certain about the results. I don't have to think. يعني في تأكد أنا عم باخذ قرار في حالة تأكد، ولما باخذ قرار في حالة تأكد معناته أنا عندي result of my decision, it's well known. If I will do this, if I will decide, for example, to buy this kind of raw material, I know the result, it will be a good quality. I have tried that, okay? And sometimes you will take decisions under risk. Now, situation in which the manager is able to estimate now the probability or the likelihood of outcome. Okay, I'm the outcomes. The outcomes or the results are not well known for me, but at least I have probability. Okay, I can develop probability for each results or for each alternative solution. Okay, and I will show you how. This is an example, a very good example of expected value. We call it an expected value for revenue. For example, I want to calculate for the predicted or expected value for my revenue for next period from the addition of one ski lift. Ski lift هذا مصعد التزلج. I don't know if you know the ski lift. All of you know what's the meaning of ski lift. Okay. Now, heavy snowfall, for example, in the case of heavy snowfall, there is a probability 30%, okay, that our expected revenue or predicted revenue for next period will be 850. Now, the expected value, of course, it will be your probability multiplied by the expected revenue, and you will have a total of $255,000. Okay. In the case of the second state of nature is could be normal, the normal snowfall. In normal snowfall, there is a probability 50% that our expected revenue will be 725,000, which of course will lead to an expected value of 362. Now, in the light snowfall, okay, which is maybe the worst scenario or the worst situation that could be in the next period, our revenue or our expected revenue might be 350,000. There is a probability 20%. Yani, what I mean, there could be a 20% probability that your expected value will be this much. Now, as expected revenue, as an expected value, it will be 70,000. Now, we care about the total now. So we can say now, in general, that our expected value, okay, total expected value for next period from selling, let's say, or from leasing or whatever ski lift, it will be a 687,500. This example, I'm showing you this example for you to know, in the case of risk situations, it is easier to take decision than the third one, which is the uncertainty, because in the risk situation, at least you have probability, likelihood. But in the case of the uncertainty situation, you don't have any information. You lack complete information about the situation, so you cannot make really estimation about the outcomes, probabilities of alternatives. Okay, then it will be difficult for you to select the best alternative associated with the problem, and may force managers to rely on their own judgment, okay, their intuition, their hunches, their feelings. And some of them, some managers sometimes will say, okay, I got a feeling that this may happen. Okay, and of course, this is a subjective method, it's not an objective method, and it will not help a lot. Since you are taking a decision in uncertainty, you should, as a manager, depend on your personal experience, past experience, because you don't have any information in order to use a quantitative method. Quick learning review so that I will end with you. Guys, quick learning review. a guideline. هيا مين اللي عندي هم؟ باسل.
letter A. letter A.
Letter A. So a guideline for making decision is a policy, right? Okay, a situation in which the decision maker is able to estimate the likelihood of certain outcome is what?
Risk.
Which
letter B.
risk. Excellent. Why? The risk situations, at least as I told you, you have a likelihood. What's the meaning of a likelihood? It's probability. Okay, guys. Anyway, any question, guys? I will continue with the learning outcome number 4 tomorrow. I will continue with you tomorrow. Please try to be ready. Okay. And always try to be present and attend and interact, please. And we'll try to make, me and you will help each other to make interaction for your own good. Okay, any question, guys? Class, any question? If you don't have any question, you are dismissed. You can leave. Thank you. We'll continue tomorrow.
يعطيك العافية دكتور.
الله يعافيك. الله يعافيك.